But anyway, yeah, it completely pathetic. The one thing that I think that it just has to be said is that it is it's so valuable that the Democrats learned from John Fetterman in the time when it is probably among the hardest to run as a Democrat, right? In the wake of like Joe Biden's massive unpopularity, the Democrats not responding to anything. I think the Roe decision tipped the scale a little bit back in their favor, but not a ton. And then for him to still just be wiping the fucking floor with Dr. Oz, right? I mean, like obviously Twitter's not real life, guys, but who the fuck do you think is on Twitter? Real people, right? So I understand not every like all the sample size of the people who are favoriting John Fetterman's tweets are not all from Pennsylvania. They're not all going to vote in the Pennsylvania election. That's not lost on me and Gavin at all. But the energy that one candidate commands being exponentially higher than any other candidate typically shows that there's going to be a lot more of a robust turnout. He's also probably getting more donations. Dr. Oz is malding constantly about how he's like not making enough money. So all these kinds of things. I just think it's important for us. Obviously, I know there's a lot of people who are like, fuck John Fetterman because of his position on Israel. I totally understand that position. But I think that if you compare his style of politics and why it's important to observe him and his success, one being because domestically he's 10 to 1 better than anything that Dr. Oz would put forth.
And I'm glad that you came with these clips, CJ. I'm extremely glad. Because I'm never going to let these people forget how they misled the workers. Now these people are trying to get clout, calling out John Fetterman. I can't believe John Fetterman will betray us. You guys see how deeply unserious their commentary is? And what they are doing, this is what Crystal did as well, they was praising John Fetterman's ability to trick working class people. You understand, CJ? So you know how they will say, "Oh, look at all this his campaign strategy of trying to appeal to rural workers." These deeply serious commentators was impressed because John Fetterman wore a hoodie and shorts. So because John Fetterman had a hoodie and a short, and he wore shorts, they thought that he was a man of the worker, despite being an Ivy League spoiled rich kid. And that's why these people are guilty. Because it's not like they just guessed wrong, CJ. It's not that. Is that they were actively helping confuse the working class. They was aiding and abetting John Fetterman's fraudulent campaign against the workers. Because it's not like they did honest live streams where, and I'll pass it here in a second, CJ. It's not like they did honest live streams where they say, okay, here are the pros, here are the cons, right? They straight up wouldn't tell people. They straight up wouldn't tell people the position these people have. They will do an entire segment praising them. And then when they bring up Israel, like they hear, they'll swat to the side. Because the social democrats and the white left, their job is to push lesser two evils, incrementalism on the workers. Because what these people did, as I was warning people about John Fetterman's unhinged Zionism, what they was doing, they were pretending that RBN wanted Dr. Oz to win. You know, common shit-lived tactics. Oh, you're telling the truth about the politician I support, so you must be a Republican, you must be a Trumper, you must be supportive of Dr. Oz. That's literally what they said about us. That we want to harm the progressive movement because we want Dr. Oz to win. You see how the job of the social democrats and the unserious soc dems is to cultivate a dumb working class who moves based on the premise of lesser to evilism instead of having principles. CJ, I'll let you chime in there a lot say on this. That's my intro. Go ahead, CJ. I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, so I had a completely different intro, but you and I were very, as Dr. West would say, we are very ad libby. Like we can change on a drop of a dime. And I saw the exchange you had over this. First, I saw the Vanguard tweet earlier, and I just thought, same thing. Nick, it becomes so commonplace that we call shit out months in advance, and then the SOC Dems finally get on board with it, and then we just got to go, oh, here they go again. And I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just another thing, just like another day today. And I saw this, and I was like, wow. I'm like, these guys have completely flipped. So I started looking for what all these people were saying about John Fetterman. Because we've been talking about what they've been saying now. But I have yet to pull up past clips until today. And I saw that one with Crystal Ball. I saw this one with Vanguard. There's plenty. There's plenty with Majority Report. There's plenty with TYT. All of them were saying, yeah, Israel. And it's so funny, not funny in a ha-ha, but funny in an ironic way, that how all of they were saying, Israel's a single issue. I'm sorry, Israel is a single issue. Israel is a litmus test. Don't just not support somebody because they're not in line with you in Israel. And then to have 20,000 Palestinians murdered. And it's like, what? Come again? What were you saying about Israel not being a litmus test? What were you saying Israel not being that big of a deal? What were you saying? Go ahead.
You notice how they called it the Israel thing. The Israel thing. That's how you sum it up. The deeply serious political channel, right? The Israel thing. You notice at no point did the Crystal Ball, Gavin, Cal Kalinske, all these people who pushed John Fetterman, did they ever do a segment where they actually pull this up? You know what the Israel thing is, CJ, when they say that? That's them acknowledging that we exist in our criticism of John Fetterman exists. Because who was criticizing John Fetterman on Israel, ladies and gentlemen? Who was the people criticizing John Fetterman on Israel? It was us. So when Vanguard and that clip you see, when they say, oh, they're that Israel thing, who you guys think they're talking about? Who you guys think they got that information from? They saw my criticism of him. I know they saw it because I tagged them in all the tweets. I ratioed him to death right now. It's going to get bad today. They're going to feel some pain today at this ratio. Okay, we just getting started. I just tweeted this out not too long ago. Right? So I tweeted this out again, ratioed them again. And fam, this has been multiple times where I ratioed the Vanguard, Crystal, Cal, everyone who supported John Fetterman with this same receipt. And you notice at no point, CJ, did they see that receipt like, damn, I didn't know this. Let me look into this. Maybe let me do a segment on this for my audience. You know, they never do that. It's almost like their job is to manufacture consent and grift off of these campaigns. The Vanguard and these people made a calculated decision that John Fetterman was going to win, which I thought he was too, right? Just looking at the field and everything. So they're like, all right, this guy's going to win, and there's enough aura of credibility of me supporting them without me being an open sellout, especially if I don't tell people about them. So I'll pass it back to you, CJ. I know you have a presentation, but this is the receipt, and this is the receipt you're gonna see me reply with the Vanguard with. John Fetterman says he'll lean in on U.S.-Israel relationship as senator. So question to the Fetterman fans, what do you think lean in mean when you're supporting a genocidal apartheid state? CJ, I'll put my stuff down. I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, no, that was perfect. John Fetterman is one of those topics, Nick. It doesn't matter what time of the day. If you say it's a John Fetterman topic, we got receipts for days on John Fetterman. It's just one of those topics.
I love it.
It don't matter. It don't matter. I don't have to warn Nick about no John Fetterman segment. I just bring up John Fetterman and the receipts will flow. Let me read this tweet that you.
Yeah, at this point, I pull that receipt up so many times I can literally just type in FET and that shit pops up immediately on my Google bar. But go ahead, CJ. That's how fast.
Yeah, let me read. And now this is all coming around to the main topic, which is Fetterman proves again he's just another Democrat, and that is this latest thing with him and Fetterman versus James Carville, which is both despicable people, but. This is what Vanguard puts out, starting to seriously wonder if the progressive cosplaying by Fetterman was just a cynical ploy to get the left to ignore his past behavior. He played us like a filler. No.
You just now realized. Oh,
Nick. This is what people who don't have, let's just say, they're not that smart politically. You have to make the person that fooled you be some sort of mastermind. He wasn't a mastermind. He wasn't a mastermind, okay? He was not a mastermind. Like, he didn't cosplay as anything. As Nick has pointed out many times,
yeah.
This was told by you, and you guys said we were being divisive, specifically on Fetterman. They were talking about us. Go ahead, Nick. You were going to chime in.
Yeah, like this is what no theory does to a motherfucker. That is like people like Kyle Kalinske. Like he openly brags about. I never read Marx. I haven't looked into Marx. The people like they brag about the ignorance. They brag about it. If you can't identify your enemy, how can you analyze the current political system? Right? Like Kwame Torres said, he has a great comparison. Like in the early human days, snakes was one of our biggest enemies, right? That's why we fear snakes. So how ridiculous would it be if snakes is a danger to you and your community, but you didn't know what a snake looked like? CJ, snakes killing you and your family. They are a threat to humanity, but you don't know. If people are like, what a snake look like? I don't know. That sounds retarded, doesn't it? That sounds ridiculous, right? That is what social democrats are to capitalism, to theory, to history. I can't identify the enemy. I'm a probable capitalist, someone who is an Ivy League, generational wealth, a class warrior for the capitalist class. They can't identify that. See, me, I immediately identify that. When I see they came from, well, what are the class disparities? What are the cultural differences between us? Meanwhile, Vanguard, Crystal, Kyle Bree, a lot of these people, they want to anoint millionaires as leaders. Marianne Williamson, John Fetterman, their theory of change is to give power to the capitalists and hope the capitalists destroys the system. Do you guys see how ridiculous that is? Do you guys see why it's so important to be able to identify your enemy? That's why I take offense when people say globalists and all this stuff. Who's your enemy? Who are you talking about? There's no class analysis, no class struggle in your politics? You're just making up terms and hope people vibe with it? Ask the average person on the street. People on the street say, what's a globalist? And people are like, I don't know. Ask the average person, what's a globalist? I don't know. But if you tell you what a billionaire is, they know what the fuck you're talking about. You know, this is what the clarity we need for the working class. We need clarity, not confusion, fam. The Vanguard and the Social Democrats, they are masters of confusion. They don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. We don't talk about it. I don't know. I'm not for them. I don't know. You guys see how they master confusion, master of being proud of their ignorance and wanting to spread that to the working class? I'm a chatty motherfucker today. I've been gone for holidays. See, I'll pass back to you. There's gonna be a lot to say. I'll pass back to you.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to go ahead. No, go ahead. Say add more.
One more thing. If you look in the replies, everyone who's a Marxist, I even seen some anarchists as well say, no Marxist and no anarchist was tricked by this. Now, there's differences in terms of theory of change between me and anarchists in general. But anyone who understands that capitalism is our enemy, anyone who understands how the ruling class operate, you're not tricked by this. And you got to see, people are saying it.
Somebody put me and you right here. I didn't even see this. I didn't even see this. It says Nick and CJ tried to tell you idiots, but I didn't even see this.
Yeah, go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, all right. So anyway, this is not the main story. We're just having a little fun with the Vanguard and a lot of these progressives because we called this a long time ago, and it's so funny the receipt that they use, Nick, the black jogger receipt. Like you're gonna bring in now you're gonna use black pain so people can feel sorry for you making this bad decision on John Fetterman. But go ahead,
bro. Hold up. I swear to God, I did not see that receipt. You know, to my response, I never mentioned the black jogger.
You were just talking about what they typed. Yeah.
Hold up. Did they really?
Yes.
Put the receipt.
Yes. Right there.
So it only took the politicians supporting a genocide for you to reflect on your decision as a privileged white person to support someone who pulled a shotgun on a black jogger. Do you guys remember what network on YouTube that viewed that as a red line? Revolutionary Blackout Network. We view that as a red line. And when we mention that as a red line, people can change. People can change. Come on, man. We run on vibes. You guys don't run on vibes? Come on, he said he changed, CJ. Fuck class analysis. Fuck analyzing his current positions on things. Like, let's ignore the fact that he's comfortable within the Democratic Party. How can he be comfortable within the ranks of our enemy? Imagine if you're at war with another country. Just to keep it simple, imagine if we had war with Canada, like a brutal war. and you see homie chilling in Canada with the soldiers. Then they come back like, hey, what's up, man? I'm with you. You be like, you were just with Canada. What the hell you going on? And that's what the progressives do with capitalism, and they want to trick us to supporting them. They can't identify the enemy. In fact, they team up with them. And then they want to drag us along with us, and they cause divisive when they want to join with us. Nope. What the RBN says, CJ, I don't give a about unity. I don't want unity. I want solidarity. And these people spit in the face of solidarity, and they demand unity. Because as John Fetterman and as black leftists, because everyone on Twitter was bringing it up, every black leftist all over Twitter was bringing up the shotgun thing. You know what response we got from the white left? Shut the fuck up and fall in line. They demand unity while expecting us to join with them while not giving solidarity. That's the problem. That's why we always be enemies with these people. They're not our friends. They're actually agents of the capitalist class. CJ, I'll pass back to you. I need to get my charger real quick. I'll be right back.
Man, yeah, go ahead. And I know they're probably thinking, man, if we had one wish, it would be for RBN to freaking go away. Like, I know that the Bernie Sanders industrial complex and media has that wish every year that RBN has been in effect, because their jobs to manipulate and sort of omit information to their audience was so much easier before RBN came around, and now it's almost unavoidable. So let's kind of pivot, or not pivot, because we're just bringing in more information about the same topic, and that is John Fetterman. And so now, like, all of their clips, all of their coverage has a taint of sarcasm when they're talking about John Fetterman. It's so funny how that is. So let's listen into Jordan Sheridan over at Status Quo cover the latest happenings that's going on with John Fetterman. We'll stop and start. We'll maybe listen to about 2.5 minutes of this clip here.
For neoliberal corporate vulture James Carville. And in return, I have some words for John Fetterman. Obviously, Fetterman, who ran embracing himself as a progressive, has recently backtracked on that. Shocker. But now Fetterman is talking to Politico, showering praise on the sinking Titanic. That is.
I'm not sure how he meant that, because he said shocker as if it wasn't a shocker. Like, that's the way he said it, was as if it's not a shocker that this guy Fetterman has made this flip. And that would be weird, because most of you most of the Soc Dems were absolutely on his side. And now it's so revisionist history. It's such a thing, especially when it comes to
Joe Biden, while telling James Carville to go take a hike. Let's show you this, which I found interesting. Politico said, we've talked about this a few months ago, and you told me then you thought Biden would win Pennsylvania and win the overall election, but things have gotten worse for him since then. Trump is now ahead in many polls. But that doesn't really matter, Fetterman said. There's a whole lifetime in politics between now and next November as well. I'm not worried about that. And I'm very vocal about this, too, while there are Democrats that are being very critical about the president. I'll use this as another opportunity to tell James Carville to shut the fuck up. Like I said, my man hasn't been relevant since grunge was a thing. And I don't know why he believes it's helpful to say these kinds of things about an incredibly difficult...
Since grunge was a thing. That's funny, coming from the guy who's dressed in grunge every day. That's so funny for him to say that. I'm gonna come back to this clip, because I want to go to the article that he's reading here. It's so funny. This sort of exchange, I'm covering it because I find it funny to cover these. These are really just two clowns that are arguing about over something as ridiculous as Joe Biden, and they have a history of sort of not liking each other. But here's the headline: Senator John Fetterman on Democratic strategist James Carville's Biden criticism. Is shut the fuck up now. It's not about shutting the fuck up about supporting genocidal Israel, Nick. It's not about shutting the fuck up about suppressing wages. It's not about shutting the fuck up about preventing healthcare. It's shut the fuck up about criticizing a sinking ship that we know called Joe Biden. And here's another headline I'll bring up before we discuss some more. Fetterman on Carville Biden criticism, shut the fuck up. But let me read the snippet from the article, the Hill article here that took out. And here's a quote. This is Fetterman. Fetterman says, like I said, and this is what he was just reading, but I want to make sure everybody hear it clearly. My man hasn't been relevant since grunge was a thing, and I don't know why he believes he's helpful to say these kinds of things about an incredibly difficult circumstance with an incredibly strong and decent and excellent president. I'll never understand that, Fetterman said. And let me pause here, because to me, Nick, I don't know if you get the same feeling. With each person who's helping Joe Biden, it feels like they understand the role they're playing and they have a specific role. Like AOC is to give cover to the left for the things that he's doing and to call him a leftist, and Bernie Sanders is to cover for him on war. It feels like Fetterman is playing a role to cover for him, but he's playing a role like an ace role, because of his disabilities and his recent stroke. He's able to say stuff that people aren't really going to go on an attack on him. You get what I'm saying? Like James Carville, they're not going to bring James Carville. Hey, look what Fetterman said about this, because they kind of agree what Fetterman is saying about shut up, James Carville. Because James Carville is going on Bill Maher. He's going everywhere to talk about how Joe Biden should drop out of the race. But what say you? Were you going to chime in before I read on here?
Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. All right. So just a couple of more sentences. Earlier this year, Carville warned that Democrats, Biden could lose to former President Trump in 2024. Carville, a political consultant to former President Clinton, had been critical of the push by Democrats to reelect Biden, despite concerns from voters that he is too old for the job. John Fetterman blasted Democratic strategist James Carville, saying he should shut the fuck up on criticism regarding President Biden, he and his odds in 2024 race. In a new interview with Politico, Fetterman responded to a question about Biden's re-election campaign by slamming Carville unprompted, saying he would use the interview as, quote, another opportunity to tell James Carville to shut up. Now, this is all funny and everything, but go ahead, Nick. Go ahead if you're going to chime in.
Yeah, so CJ, stuff like this is why I never bought into Trump derangement syndrome, right? So if you truly believed that a guy who has a good chance to be president is an existential threat to democracy, and I'm talking about someone who's going to end the rule of law. That's what they say. That he's a dictator, and this is, once again, my friends and family, the most important election of our lifetime. Now, if they truly believe that Trump was a unique evil, they will be doing everything they can to defeat him, including welcoming criticism. Like, all right, who been in elections, who know elections, who's willing to warn us about what's coming, who has a good strategy about what's moving forward, who has any critique about what's going on. So if you were someone that actually thought that Trump was a threat, you'd be like, all right, who has any critique of what's going on? Let's listen to them. No, so what Fetterman is doing to Carville, or essentially everyone who's critical of Biden here, is saying shut the fuck up and fall in line. No criticism. I don't care if you're trying to help Democrats, like Carville surely is, right? We all should just chill, run on good vibes, and just hope for the best. Does that sound like the strategy of people who is running against someone who's an existential threat? Now, considering how much of their base, for example, John Fetterman, supports the ceasefire, right? You would think that Trump, being the existential threat that he is, being a threat to a democracy that he is, that they would sacrifice an issue or two, right, CJ? Like, all right, you're a threat to a democracy, you're going to end rule of law. I'm like, all right, fuck, drop this thing then. If I really believe, all right, drop Medicare for all. Damn, we got to do something. We got to drop this. We got to drop this. They don't really believe that, because if they did, it will drop the loyalty to Israel, because that is the thing that will get Trump elected, correct? The fact that they're not willing to drop their loyalty to Israel shows that they really don't believe Trump is worth this big deal like they pretend they are, right? Which is why Fetterman wanted to halt any criticism of Biden. But anyway, CJ, I think my point. You can continue.
Yeah. So, and I think, this wasn't a long segment. I just thought it was an interesting segment to start with. And I'll pass you for another receipt. Now, let me just say this. Yeah, Fetterman has been in the news not just because of this. So I'm sure you have, and I do have a couple other receipts, just slightly different topic, because he's been voicing a lot of things, from him saying he's not progressive to this thing with Carville, but he's also was in the news because Fox News has been using him a lot to say, look, guys, even the progressive is down with immigration. You see why these labels matter, because then they use it to push their neocon wars, or they use it to push their capitalist policies. But I pass it to you for your next
That's such a fantastic point, CJ, because now they're doing the storyline of even Fetterman, who even they say was progressive, say the left has gone too far. You guys see why it's important to know our enemies? And John Fetterman is very happy about this, CJ. He sees the praise that he's getting from the capitalist class. Remember, you're not a capitalist fan. You think you're a capitalist, you're not. You're an exploited worker. Repeat after me. You're not a capitalist. You're an exploited worker. Only a very few amount of people is a capitalist. People control capital. People who invest in infrastructure, who has influence using their capital. You're a capitalist. Anyone who makes money through investment. Anyone who is able to exploit labor. You're not a capitalist. So John Fetterman is very happy about the praise he gets from the capitalist class, like Fox News, the Democratic Party. Like, man, this guy's not that bad. All right? So this is him looking at the Vanguard, looking at Jordan, looking at Crystal, Cal, the Humanist Report, David Doe, all these people. And instead of saying thank you, he is saying, ha, gotcha, sucker. Deal with it. Now, to me, this story is fun. This story is funny because you guys got to feel a little bit pain in your heart. Be disappointed to realize the mistake that you made. To hopefully this will radicalize you, because that's what Obama did to me. I don't know, 10 plus years ago. You guys a little slow on the uptake there, but you guys need this, right? So now, if I supported Fetterman and this came out, I might quit YouTube. I'd delete my account. I'd be so mad. Look at this headline. John Fetterman isn't the politician you think he'd be, and he doesn't care. So this is him looking at all the progressives who support him, despite the fact that he pulled a shotgun on a black jogger, despite the fact that he comes from generational wealth and he does not have your class interest in mind. Despite all of that, you guys support him. So John Fetterman's like, oh my God, the workers are dumber than I thought they were. So now, instead of feeling any sort of sympathy, the capitalist class do what they do most. They engage in class warfare. So now, as you have the social democrat left who supported John Fetterman, right? Shouldn't John Fetterman show sympathy to these people, reach out to these people? No, what do you do when you got someone defeated in war? You want to completely crush and demoralize them, CJ. You want a complete, utter victory psychologically as well. So as people are mourning the fact that they supported John Fetterman, as all these people writing long tweets, not saying it, but they're essentially apologizing to their audience for supporting this guy. That's why they're doing this coverage. So as they're doing this, they're like, oh my God, I can't support the Fetterman. Here comes Fetterman's like, I don't give a fuck what you guys say. Even more. I would be embarrassed if I support this guy. But I don't want to be too long on this.
That was the other article. That was the other article I was going to bring up too. So that's good that you brought it up. Like I said, there's a bunch of different things going on written about John Fetterman. I think it's a couple of things happening. Of course, the establishment is realizing, wow, we didn't know that this guy John Fetterman was going to be this manipulable, if that's a word, like this easy to mold into what we want, because he's just laying down like no other. Either that, or it is just becoming public, and I think it might be the latter, where it's just becoming public, where this was the plan all the time. Because remember at the time, Nick, one of the questions we was asking was like, why is the establishment not against John Fetterman if he's a real progressive? This doesn't make any sense. That I think didn't Hillary Clinton like endorse him, or somebody endorsed him?
All of them had nothing but great.
Yeah, we were like, this doesn't make sense. Like, this is so. It was so easily recognizable that this guy was not the person that he was claiming to be, and he wasn't going to govern the way that people were trying to make him out to be. And they were all just saying, because Oz is worse. What does that really mean when you're seeing it now? Like, look at his vote on immigration. Look at his vote on Israel. So what is the difference in Oz? You know what the difference, one of the difference would be? you wouldn't be believing that you have a fighter in the Senate and you would be fighting Dr. Oz every day.
Yes.
But because you think you have Fetterman, now you're doing nothing.